1 and 2 are going to do a stand, pair, and share about the expectations that, as a whole group, you guys should have during lessons or every day in class. Tables 5, 3, and 4 are going to do a stand, pair, share. And individually, what the expectations are during the lesson and every day in class. And then our last table, 6, 7, and 8, are going to do a stand, share, pair on the expectations of you guys during a movie. So how you guys should behave during a movie, what you guys should be doing. So give me a thumbs up if you understand what we're going to do for 2 minutes. Got a thumbs up? Any thumbs down? Anyone confused?
If you can't remember all the classroom expectations, that's why you're meeting as a whole group, and hopefully you can.
Yep, and then once the 2 minutes are over with, we're going to have you guys share out to the classroom the ideas that you guys have.
Sound good?
So you got 2 minutes, so go ahead and stand up, get with your parking tables, and
Good morning to all of our Millwood Lancers students, staff members, and any guests we may have in our building. I'm going to give you all a moment to get yourselves seated, quiet, and situated, and then we'll begin with our morning announcement. Student achievement, student success, and preparation for graduation are why we are here at Millwood Magnet School. It's why we do what we do. Just give you a quick reminder on our hallway expectations as we place a focus or an emphasis on making sure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing all over the building, specifically in our hallways. Now, our hallways are kind of like our highways, if you think about it in that way. They are used to transport about 704 bodies 6 times a day. That's a lot of folks. Now, in order to do that safely, you must walk in the hallways, observe safety rules, and certainly keep your hands to yourselves. We have several, what I'm going to call, areas of concern in our hallways. I'm going to mention where those are. Our 8th graders, down at the far end of the 8th grade hallway. I mentioned that area about a week ago, and it's gotten a little bit better, but that's still one that we're going to keep our eyes on. The spot for 8th graders right outside of our communities in school's office. Our 8th graders have a tendency to bunch up there. That's something that I'm asking our mentors, especially Mr. Fannin, myself, as I'm down in the 8th grade hallway to monitor that. Our 6th graders, down near our 6th grade bathrooms, there seems to be a lot of running and horseplay outside those areas, so we're going to be focusing on that area. Our back lobby area and the area near the student center door is also an area of focus. So for students, as you are moving through our hallways over the next several days, please be mindful that we will be keeping an eye on those areas. Now for 7th graders, you all are looking much better down that 7th grade hallway, so I'm going to ask that you keep up the great job. The emphasis in our hallways is keeping hands and feet to ourselves. Certainly, young men, never, ever okay for you to put your hands on a young lady. Young ladies, we expect you to observe the same courtesy towards our young men. And 2 words, real simply, we walk. We walk in our hallways. That's the expectation. Now, when staff or mentors address you in the hallways, please be mindful also, students, that it's just like Ms. Adams or myself speaking to you. We hold the same words and are going to support staff in our hallway expectations. Most of our folks do a great job to the tune of 84% of our students getting to all of their classes on time. So for those folks, please keep up the good work. Just a reminder about Art Club, which is scheduled to begin on Tuesday. Mrs. Kirby will be running Art Club this year. The permission slips for those of you that are interested in joining Art Club are located in the main office. So if that is something that you're interested in, and judging by our hallways and the art displays that we see up in our hallways, we have a lot of very talented folks who would maybe be interested in joining Art Club. So please get a permission slip and consider being a part of that. Remember that we have a drawing tomorrow during our Friday announcements, so make sure that you get your Lancer tickets here into the office. And finally, I want to give a special birthday shout out to Miss Lilia Bistrick, one of our 7th graders on the Young Lancers team. Happy birthday to Lilia. Everyone have a focused and successful day of teaching and learning at Millwood Magnet School, a center for math, science, and technology.
Alright, thank you guys for staying quiet and being respectful of the announcement. Alright, I'm going to give you 2 seconds to get back with who you were with talking, and then I'll start the clock. Please someone that's not
Everybody's in the room. Although I did have one. I don't know which one.
Yeah, that's not important. Refocus. Let's refocus. We're not going to get phones out. No yelling. Yeah. No, how about we don't read? Alright, we'll be ready to share, you guys. What do you think our expectations are for when we're watching? Sleeping meetings. I get one. It's kind of hard to do sometimes. What else? One more thing. One of your classmates.
Alright, everybody back in. Alright. Okay, so we're going to have at least 2 expectations from each group shared aloud so everyone can hear. In the front of our classroom was talking about expectations when you're working in a group. Can someone please tell us one of those expectations from the front? Come on. You were in group 1?
And 2.
Yes. Awesome. Good
Alright, so
advice.
William said that if you are given permission to talk in a group, go ahead and talk and converse with each other. But if you don't have permission, then you shouldn't be talking. Go ahead. What's your name again? Jordan. Go ahead, Jordan. Oh, hold on. I'll take that. Everyone's listening. You guys, you shouldn't be talking. Okay. So level 0 voices unless if someone's talking to you or you're asked to talk. Good idea. We'll take one more and then move on. So you need to participate in a group activity when asked to do so. Awesome. Table 1 and 2.
So active listening and talking, right? You'll share advice with everybody.
Yes. So how about your next groups? 3, 4, and 5. Christian.
Wait, which one?
This is for individual when you are working by yourself. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no chucking stuff at other people.
No trucking stuff at other people. That is a very important one. Let's keep our hands and feet and our stuff to ourselves. Work independently and pay attention. Okay, one more.
No flying planes in the classroom.
No flying planes in the classroom. Yes.
Especially those fighter jets.
No, we're not gonna do paper airplanes, even though sticky notes, which we had some friends do a couple of weeks ago. So we're gonna keep that to maybe free time or at home, because I don't think you should be flying any paper airplanes in school.
And plus, it's a distraction to other people who are trying to work. So we want to make sure that everyone's working individually, and everyone knows what individually means, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we shouldn't have any problem with
Another
that.
friend.
And our back tables. What are the expectations when watching a video?
Michel, you had a few. How about we share one of them?
Like, what is it? Don't know. No talking.
No talking. Awesome. How about someone from table 7 or table 8? Oh, Michel, what did you just tell us one of the expectations were? No talking. So how about, let's try to do that.
Pay attention.
Pay attention during the movie, right? So no talking during the movie, pay attention during the movie. One more. What was that?
No, nothing.
Oh.
I think those are pretty good ones. Just make sure you're paying attention. And there's a reason why we're playing the video, right? So you really want to pay attention because it's going to be linked to something later on in class and it's going to help you with your activities. Plus, it's fun. You get to watch a little 3-minute clip. So, with that being said, we are going to show you guys the video. Like I just said, pay attention. Keep your ears open and definitely eyes up on the screen.
Yep, and we want you guys to pay attention to like key points that the video is making about. We're gonna watch a video about basically the time period after the agricultural revolution, which we talked about on Tuesday. So maybe just pay attention to some of the key points of their lifestyle, their communication, so sources of communication that they use, stuff like that.
And you can even think, like, how is this similar to the nomadic period, and how is it different? How are they developing even further? Because as we learn, the communities keep developing from all these inventions that they're coming up with. So, with that being said, here's the video. Oh, page and roll.
One day, in the country of Sumer, part of the ancient land of Mesopotamia, students were hard at work at homes all across the famous city-state of Nippur. Their teacher had asked them to write a journal about their lives and their country. Nisaba, one of those students, chose to tell how writing developed in her homeland.
My grandfather says that in the old days, nobody knew how to write. Writing started when my ancestors needed a way to keep records on what had happened from year to year. Like how much grain each farmer had grown, and how much different people got as their shares, and how many sheep and cattle they had, how many animals died and how many were born, and how much of everything was given to the gods. We started out by drawing little pictures that represented words. Like this picture, it represented a star. Well, over time, people started writing faster, and the picture of the star changed to this, and eventually this. Now, our writing looks more like symbols than pictures. We combine the symbols to make words and names. See, here's how you write Udu's name. Udu is my pet sheep, by the way. Our style of writing is called cuneiform. That means wedge-shaped. All the symbols are made up of little wedge marks. That's because we use a tool called a stylus to write. We cut them from reeds that grow along the river. We'll never run out of those. We write on clay tablets. There's plenty of clay around, too. All we have to do is pat some clay into a pancake, then cut a stylus, press the end of the stylus into the wet clay, and start writing. When we're finished, we put the tablet in the sun to dry and harden. Then the tablets last forever. Well, almost. Writing helped make our civilization powerful. Because we could keep records, we could make plans for the future. That's what my dad does. He works for the king. His job is to tell the farmers which fields to plant and which crops to grow and how much. So we're always sure that we'll have enough food for all of our people. And enough for the gods, too. Like my mom.
Okay, so that's all we're going to show for today. Just a little introduction to this time period. And can someone tell me a main idea what she was talking about? What was something huge that happened?
I pointed out 2 flaws in that.
2 flaws? What were the flaws?
She didn't have an accent. She was speaking English, and they didn't have fancy back then.
Well,
you know what? You are right.
That's a good observation.
But this time period was so long ago that those people aren't alive anymore. So there's someone, you are right. I'm glad you picked up on that. It is someone who is living today who was not alive back in this time period. Awesome catch. Did anyone notice anything about their lifestyle maybe? Christian? Is that about their lifestyle or is that about the person individually? Okay, let's talk about their lifestyles, yeah. Hierarchy. So we noticed that they had a king, right? Which is kind of something new to us because we didn't really learn about that in the agricultural revolution.
Why do you think they were able to have a king? Now that they aren't traveling in small clans or alone to catch their own food, what's happening?
They have a lot of food now, so they can have more population.
Exactly. More food means more population, so more people are gathering together and becoming a community. Yes. Yes, Mr. Brown, did you have an observation?
What's it called again when you have extra food, more food than you need? What is that?
Surplus.
It's called a
We
surplus.
learned that in our other video on Tuesday, didn't we?
Awesome. I'm interested in something that kind of was invented during this time period. What did they use that was very helpful? Clay for what? To write. Okay, so this is the first time that we're noticing writing or pictograms, which is their way of drawing little symbols so that they can have inventory. Do you guys know what inventory means?
Yeah.
Okay, keeping track of what they own, what they have, and what their community needs. Yes.
And they never had peasants, they only had those sticks were right on the place.
Does anyone remember what those utensils were made out of that they used to write with?
Like a leaf.
A reed or a leaf? Yes. Yes. A reed. Yes.
Awesome. Good job. I'm glad you guys are paying attention.
Can anyone raise their hand? Do you remember what they called the first form of writing?
It's kind of tricky.
Starts with a C.
What was that?
Raise your hand. Yes. Yes. Cuneiform. You're correct. Okay, Miss Michael is passing out a worksheet right now. I want you to go ahead and put your name and hour on it for us. And then we'll go over how we're going to fill that out.
We're going to start with the side that has examples of the cuneiform. And there's some sentences on it, and we're going to fill in those blanks.
Yep, so we're going to start on the side with the picture. So how we're going to do this activity is Miss H and I are actually going to walk around and we're going to read aloud to the entire class our story. So we have, if you look at your sheet of paper, your stories have some blank areas. So that's what we need you guys to be active listeners right now. And you need to really listen for the words that we are saying about this time period. And if you look at the top underneath the pictures, those are the words that are going to be filled in through the blanks, okay? So just listen aloud, and if you're confused maybe how to spell something, it's just right up there. You can cross it out after you use it. And we'll actually read the first one aloud, and I will demonstrate. Yes?
Oh, can you run? Does everyone have a sheet of paper? Okay, awesome. And everyone needs a pencil out as well, so you can write.
Alright, give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Thumbs up.
Nice and high so we can see.
Got some thumbs up.
Awesome.
Table 7, you're ready back there? Okay, so the first one. Over 5,000 years ago, people living in the Mesopotamia developed a form of writing to record and communicate different types of information.
All right, we're going to pause there. I'm pretty sure the first word I heard started with an M, but I can't really think of how to spell it. Yes. Mesopotamia. Awesome. So how am I going to know how to spell that? Kind of sounds interesting. Right there. It says it right there. It's right on the top of your page. Awesome. So just look up there, and I think it's Mesopotamia. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So continuing on, you guys just have to listen. She's going to read throughout the rest of it, and you guys will be good, right? Cool.
Alright, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on. Good, we all got the first word? Awesome. The earliest writing was based on pictograms. Pictograms were used to communicate basic information about crops and inventory. Over time, the need for writing changed and the signs developed into a script we call cuneiform.
Alright, let's pause there for a second so you guys can get caught up.
Got the 4 blanks to fill in there.
I see a few pencils still moving, so we'll give you about another 20 seconds. All right.
Over thousands of years, Mesopotamian scribes recorded daily events, trade, astronomy, and literature of on clay tablets. Over thousands of years, Mesopotamian scribes recorded daily events, trade, astronomy, and literature on clay tablets. Cuneiform was used by people throughout the ancient Near East to write several different languages.
All right, thumbs up if you have your entire sheet filled out. And then thumbs down if you need us to repeat something. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Good, I'm seeing all thumbs up. Oh, one thumbs down.
one
Which
thumbs
one do
down.
you need to repeat it? Okay, the earliest writing was based on.
The earliest writing was based on pictograms. Pictograms were used to communicate basic information about crops and inventory. Anyone else see anything repeated? Raise your hand.
Yes. This one, over time, the need for writing changed and the science developed into a script we call cuneiform. Okay, so now what we're going to do is on the bottom of your paper you see a little blank space that says student paraphrase. Does anyone know what a paraphrase is? Can anyone tell me? Yes.
2 phrases.
2 phrases, that makes sense, right? Like para, 2 phrase. Yes, but can we develop on that further? You're rephrasing something, so you're not copying something directly down. What are you using? Somebody else's words or your own words? Perfect. So paraphrasing is using your own words to kind of tell a short summary of what we are talking about. So we're going to do a quick think, pair, share, so you can share your ideas with a partner and kind of develop even further. But then you're going to write individually by yourself 2 to 3 sentences about this time period and why you think writing is important. Why was the invention of writing important? The 2 questions we have posted on the board. So if you forget, you can always look up to the front for reference. So why was the invention of writing important, and how did it help develop these communities? You can use what we learned in the video and from this worksheet that you just did to kind of think of, how is it helpful? Look at some of those key terms we used. So I really need partners 1 and 2 to think, pair, share, and 3 and 4. So we'll give you about 1 minute to think, and then we'll let you know when we're ready to share. And while we're thinking, we should be at a level 0, right? Nod your head if I'm right. Level 0? Perfect. Okay. So go ahead and start thinking about those 2 ideas.
So why don't we have our partners 1 and 2 get together, and 3 and 4, and share your thoughts with each other.
Make sure you share your ideas, because some people might have one thought, and they can be totally right, and someone might have a totally different idea, but you can still have really great ideas. So it's helping us share information about the invention of writing. So everyone should be talking on level 1 or 2 with your partners.
What over here? So let's do like 1 sentence. 2 or 3. I know. Right. It's so much of me, but. Alright, why don't you guys go ahead and write 2 to 3 sentences about what your thoughts are on those 2 questions, okay? Wow. You guys got some good ideas for 1 and 2?
I'm hearing some really good answers from a few of these tables, so I'm really glad you guys were listening throughout the activity. All right, go ahead and take this next 2 minutes to finish up your own 2 to 3 sentence paraphrase at the bottom of your worksheet. Use your ideas, and if you forget what you're supposed to be writing about, you can look right at the board in the green marker.
Share something important with me. Come on, you got this. Do you want to tell me what you're How about this? How about you tell me how to write it? That means you need to do maybe 2 to 3 sentences, so you don't know. Yes. And you don't have to write it, or you can tell me I can read it for you, or you can just write it down. You don't have to tell me to go out. You're
All right, 1 more minute to finish up your
Okay, I'm
thoughts.
going back and check video.
I just stopped. I tried to go like this. I stopped
Okay, when I say bring it, you say back. Bring it. Back. Bring it. Back. Good job. All right. Moving forward, if you flip your sheet of paper over to the opposite side, you will see a ton of boxes. This is going to be your chance to work individually. So I heard some expectations of working individually earlier. One of them, I believe, was that you shouldn't be bothering other people, that you should be working quietly. So let's keep those in mind when we're working on this second half of the activity. And you guys are going to have a chance to write your own form of cuneiform, which is pictograms, which is a form of script that they used in this time period. So if you can think of whatever you want to draw. You can think of different words, different places. We wrote some examples on the board, so if you get stuck, like what should I draw? What should I write?
Miss Michael, I don't think everyone's listening to you. So we're gonna wait until everyone's decided to stop talking. You're talking right now.
All right, thank you for bringing it back. So like I was saying, we have a few ideas up here that you can draw in each box. Because they were located between two rivers, they might have written about rivers a lot, maybe the stars, because they wrote down astronomy, which we learned earlier. Now they have a city, families, anything that you can think of that they might have written about. Go ahead and draw that. If you need some help for examples, maybe what they would look like, you can flip your page back over and there's 2 pictures on there that show some examples of it. Mostly lines, different lines, whatever you think would be helpful. So go ahead, we're going to have 10 minutes to do this activity because we want you to fill in as many boxes as you can. Yep, you want to use words that they would use. So you're not going to draw like a computer, right? Because they didn't have computers back then. But maybe you can draw a cow for food or a family. Yep, you're drawing symbols.
Write the word at the top of what you're drawing, like of each box. So, I don't have it.
Yep.
So like William is going to do astronomy first. So he wrote astronomy at the top of the box. And then he's going to do his drawing below, what maybe they would have drawn back then to communicate. There are ideas up here, so if you can't think of any of your own, we have plenty of them up here, so just choose one and draw, okay? Yes.
This is also your chance to be creative though, so if you see something that's not on the board that you think they might have used, go ahead and write it down because we want to see that.
Those are awesome drawings. Make sure you write what you're drawing, okay? Like the word of it at the top. Did we get a sentence down to the other side? No? Alright, how about we at least try to get 4 of these pictures drawn, okay? And then maybe we can come back to the sentence. Or are you drawing yourself? Yeah.
Well, it sounds amazing, so. I know some of you guys are getting close to the end, and some of you guys are still working, so that's totally fine. But if you're finished, feel free to start reading one of your books, or you can just sit quietly and reflect upon your day or what your weekend's gonna be like. So make sure you're staying quiet.
Guys, this would be a great opportunity to journal if you are done. I know you guys do that on some days. Friday and Monday. Well, if you want to, you can journal.
Use their access.
Come on, Adele. I know you do better. But right at the top one, it's like a draw ribbon, right? Yes.
Don't act like you're done. Make sure we're staying quiet so our peers have a chance to finish up. I really like how table 2 is focusing on their worksheet and working silently. Yeah.
I do last night.
A duck fan.
A duck.
Ooh. Start wrapping your pictures up. Mr. Brown, your cuneiforms up actually is the correct term. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm sure they learned it. Probably went out.
Some other one, so the full names, merchants, the people to be described, they had to learn. It's the same thing. If you don't have to play.
I did all the
All right, when I say bring it, you say back. Bring it. Bring it. Bring it. Forward. Everybody's attention up here, please. The timer's about to go off. Yeah. So you have 30 seconds to finish up your class. Everyone should be on level 0 right now.
And then start working on it.
Everyone should be on a level 0. So finish up the pictogram that you are working on right now.
I need to drop
Alright, time's up. Everybody's attention up here, please. Everybody should be at a level 0. Awesome job. Table 3, 8, 7, 4, 3, 8. Oh, I think almost every table is doing a great job. And I love this symbol over here. And respect and love. Awesome. So, to wrap up this lesson, you guys did an awesome job drawing your pictograms. I think that if I was living this time period, I would totally know what you're talking about. Especially some of these pictures of fish and cows and rivers and sunlight. Those were all really important aspects back then, and they still are. So if you can flip your papers back over to the original side, we're going to wrap up the lesson by sharing some of our paraphrases. Share with the class why we think that writing was important. It is such an important invention. So raise your hand silently so we can listen to our classmates share their ideas. Okay?
Yes, go ahead. Oh, Christian.
writing wasn't like writing never happened. We wouldn't learn about our history.
So if writing never happened, we wouldn't know about our history as much as we do. That is an awesome answer.
Awesome. I think we have an idea over here.
Jordan, go for it.
If word was invented and you guys did that day and you wasn't there, if you had to say no and you can't, you'll probably get in trouble and then you'll probably get like
Okay, so you get in trouble, but writing is a form of what? It's a major form of something. You guys use different forms of writing every day. You text message, you talk on a computer. What's writing a form of? Communication. Awesome. So if they didn't have writing, they wouldn't be able to communicate. And now they communicate with their future community and let them know what kind of inventory they had, what things worked and what things didn't work. Yes, Christian?
Well, just one thing doesn't make sense. And this sort of has something to do. But how do we know, like, if we speak English and then Chinese people speak Chinese, how do we know how to communicate with them and what their words
Morse code. That's awesome. That's a really good question. That's an awesome question, actually. So how do we understand what other people are saying if we don't speak the same language? I know it's really
Like, how do
difficult.
we learn
What they were doing? Okay, perfect. So when they were finding these scripts, right, they were looking at them and they found different patterns within them. And they kind of all brought it back to astronomy and archaeologists, which we were talking about earlier a few days ago. So those were really important aspects. And you know, I can't personally answer that question, but maybe we can research it later if we have time. But that's an awesome question. How exactly do they know what those pictograms meant? How did they know 4 lines meant a table, you know? So that's a great question, but they did eventually figure it out and they pulled all this information information from their community, and it helped future communities keep building. So I think it was kind of word of mouth and how it kept developing. That definitely helped. But awesome question.
Yeah, and they were writing about things that were important at the time. So obviously they weren't writing saying, hey, what's up with you? What are you doing tomorrow? Like, they were more focused on the important things. So if someone knew there was going to be a drought happening, maybe they would write that down. And after the clay had hardened, maybe they would send that to a neighboring community and let them know. Or maybe the river was getting really high and they needed to be like, warn other people who maybe lived by the river or not, and or up the river, like miles up the river, if there's another community, they would write it in the clay and then send it up there with a message carrier maybe, or some other way to get the message to neighboring communities.
So our second question is, how did it help develop the communities? So we're kind of started touching on that right now, but how do you think it helped them develop even further? We know that we started with hunters and gatherers, and then, in that whole nomadic period, and then they started realizing, there's an agricultural revolution going on. We can stay in one spot, grow our crops, and we can build a community. And now they're figuring out we can watch the world and see how we can help nature help us grow even larger. So why do you think writing helped them develop?
Go ahead, Jordan.
I think it's because maybe something goes wrong and then someone else needs to know. How would they be able to do it when writing is writing than this?
Awesome. So, like an example that Ms. H said, you're connecting it back to that. They're helping other communities develop too. So when you're helping each other, then if I give you, it's just like earlier in the agricultural revolution. If I give you grain, you might trade it with some meat with me. So we're trading ideas, we're trading information, and we're trading actual crops and livestock and things. So the more we trade, the more we know, because as we know, one table might come up with one idea, while the other table is researching another. So communicating is very important. Awesome idea. Anything else? We'll take one more. Christian, let's give someone else a chance to answer. But I like that you're actively participating. Does anyone want to read their paraphrase? Yes. You couldn't text or have Facebook. No, they didn't, but this was the important form of communication back then.
Facebook is important.
Facebook is, Facebook can help communicating with people, definitely. Anything else? No? Okay, well, good job today. You guys did awesome participating. You were all behaving so well. We really appreciate it. And I am so surprised at your guys' drawings. I shouldn't say surprised, but I haven't seen you guys draw very much in this class, and some of your drawings were awesome, and I would totally be able to figure out what they meant back in uniform writing. So good job, and if you could pass your papers to your number 3 person at your table. And number 3, have turn your papers into me at the front.
All right, you guys, we have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So over the instructions to hand your papers to Ms. Michael or myself, not the bin. The bin does not feel good right now. That's last year. It was nobody. Thank you for having me.
Hey, find your seats, please. When I say bring it, you say back, bring it,
Back.
bring it,
Back.
bring it,
Back.
Good. Conversation dropped. Now, we have some really important stuff to talk about right now, and that is that you guys hit 20 points, so you earn not only your first party, but the first party out of any class this year. So you guys are really doing a great job. So, I'm looking outside, it looks like we actually have